Hello, welcome to KeyNotes Live. I'm Spencer Koppel. I'm a digital specialist here at Key Media Solutions. Basically, I'm the one that's putting the ads in platform, making sure that's optimized, make sure that's running well. And this is Madison. You can introduce yourself if you want.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Madison. I'm a digital I'm a digital coordinator. Gosh, I can't even remember my position today. Yes, I'm a digital coordinator. I work on social media campaigns and then uplifting a lot of the digital campaigns we work on here outside of social media as well. You've probably seen our faces several times in the social media sphere here on KeyNotes, and of course, TikTok is constantly changing, so we are not running out of topics.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
we'll,
we'll give a few minutes for people to kind of join in. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat. We're going to give a few minutes for people to join in before we really get into it. And just a little update on what we're doing today and what we're looking at. We're going to be doing a little update on the current TikTok trends and what's going on with TikTok being potentially banned, what's going on there. Just a little more info about TikTok, and then a little bit more info about some other social media stuff that we think is cool. Just to kind of brighten it up a little bit. But yeah, so we'll give it a few minutes for people to join.
Yeah, and as Spencer said as well, please feel free to drop any questions, whether it's TikTok related or not. We really do this so we can have an open dialogue space. So we'll be discussing TikTok and some other social media items if we have time. But we can any questions about past TikTok or any social media app, feel free to drop those in the chat.
Yeah. And even if it's something like super like in depth, maybe we could even make it into another keynotes in the future. A lot of opportunities there. So just if you have any questions or anything, just drop them in the comment. We'll be happy to answer your questions.
And I guess I'm going to say this as a little precursor to while we're just waiting for people to come in. The TikTok ban was supposed to happen, I think, on the 5th. Is that right?
Yes, I believe it was the 5th. Yep.
Yeah. And so we'll get into an update on sort of what happened, but TikTok is not gone. So we've been counting down the days. I also do some advertising for us on TikTok. And so I've been, just kind of waiting to see, like, I'm going to advertise right up to the end. But it's been interesting to see that constantly changing.
Yeah. Actually, we probably can get started. It's been a little bit, so
all right, let's do it.
So yeah, TikTok. What's happening with that currently? So it was supposed to be banned. I think it was the 5th is when it was supposed to be banned. 5th of April. So that was delayed another 75 days. The new date is now June 18th. So another 75-day extension. And we're kind of playing it by ear, kind of like Madison said. We're advertising there. So we're kind of just keeping an eye on that and make sure that that's nobody really knows if it's going to be another 75 days after that or what it's looking like. There's been kind of rumors speculating around, but nothing too concrete quite yet.
And a reminder that the ban is what's happening is in those 75 days is they want ByteDance to sell. I believe it's 50% ownership to an American company. So that's kind of what they're waiting for.
Yep. And kind of segueing off of that, so there is a few companies that have put their hat in the ring for potentially buying TikTok. I don't think they've actually came to any agreement or anything quite yet. And some of those companies are Amazon, which obviously everyone knows what Amazon is, Oracle, which is like more of a server cloud-based company, Microsoft, and Walmart. So those are some of the bigger companies that have entered potentially buying TikTok. But like I said, there's no actual movement on if they're going to agree to that yet, or if it's kind of just like a bargaining tool. And a little update on TikTok itself. I don't know if we did a discussion last time about it. So TikTok it was removed off of the App Store, both Apple and Google. That has since been returned. So that is back on Google and Apple, which is something I don't know if that's new that we covered or not. But so it is available. There was a section where people weren't able to access TikTok if they deleted it. That's no longer the case. You can re-download it.
Yep, and I saw a couple more people pop in. Again, just we said at the top, feel free to pop any questions, TikTok related or not, in the chat while you're here. But yeah, is that to me?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay. Sorry, I'm talking anyways. Let me say what I'm supposed to be saying. But so something that I've been really closely watching is with this. So a lot of TikTok numbers have been receding, not only because of a big part of that was because of course, people deleted the app because they thought it was going to be banned and then couldn't re-download it. But even now that the download is available again, TikTok is seeing a lot of numbers down on usership. I don't think it's significant, but it is, a natural thing to happen when there's a lot of uncertainty. And so we're wondering, where is that migration happening to? Because it's good for advertisers and social media marketers to be aware of like where the traffic's going to go somewhere, because people really like their short and long form video content. The people, TikTok has showed us one thing: people love that sort of content form. And so right now, primarily people are moving to Instagram Reels. I think it's about 20% right now. I forgot to write down the exact number in front of me, but there's a significant number of traffic directly going right back over to Instagram Reels, and that usership is up. And then YouTube Shorts is right behind. I don't think that they are going to be replacements for it, until they actually have to be, or if they ever have to be. But right now, if you want to focus on ad dollars or be ready for that transition if it happens, Instagram Reels and Shorts are kind of still the top leaders. I saw this, or I was going to say too, on something that is interesting, talking about the ownership. There was also a comment by President Trump that he was considering lowering tariffs for China if ByteDance decides to sell, kind of as an incentive to try and get them to sell, because ByteDance is not sure if they want to even approach that right now. And that's just kind of interesting. I've never really seen that intersection of, import taxes and social media platform. So that's another thing to kind of keep your eye on. But I saw this quote. I did write down this quote from Tim Smith at Adweek. I thought it was a great way to sort of summarize all the conversations, especially Spencer and I have been having about social media and TikTok. But he said this: to look at it like weather, that our short-term outlook is very reliable, but long-term forecasts are nearly impossible, especially when it comes to timing, frequency, and severity. And I'm like, that is, TikTok is just another version of a social media storm we've seen before, so just kind of batten down the hatches, figure out where you want to be, and we'll keep keeping you updated.
Yeah, no, it's a little unprecedented right now too, so it's like you really can't tell what the future is going to be until it happens, kind of thing. And actually going back to Instagram, so we kind of talked about Instagram a little bit. So Instagram is actually starting to potentially roll out their own editing app. I don't know if there's a name for it quite yet, and this is potentially to replace TikTok's owned app called CapCut, which also was in the potential ban. So CapCut, owned by TikTok, would also be removed from the App Store, and it temporarily was when it was banned back in January. So this is just another space where Instagram's looking to potentially take some of those users, take them and put them into their own app. Still developing. They said it'd be about a week or two, and I have heard some rumblings. I think I actually have access to it now. I haven't used it quite yet, so I don't know how robust it is quite yet. But it is something they're working on.
That's so interesting to watch too, because TikTok emerged so abruptly, and then CapCut did as well. And I think it's interesting to watch people really pushing to replicate. There's a unique opportunity right now to, like, in case the ban does go into effect, they can just kind of replicate an app that was popular. So it will be interesting to see if their video editing is just like another version of CapCut, or if it'll be different in its own way.
Because I use CapCut. I like CapCut. And so I don't know if that was talked about when the ban was originally happening. Most of my videos that I've edited are in that CapCut app. And so I went to go access it, and I was like, why is this not working? And then I looked it up, and I was like, oh, this is banned too. I'm like, they didn't really discuss it. Like, this seems like it's kind of a secondary thing that nobody talked about because not as many people use it. But I seriously, for that time when it was banned, I lost a bunch of my videos that I had edited and was going to use or upload. Were just gone. So it's just kind of crazy to think, do I potentially go to Instagram since I know it's a little bit more stable, or do I keep it? Do I go elsewhere? Kind of a weird spot to be in.
Yeah, and it's really hard for, especially speaking from an advertiser perspective or influencers, anyone that's has some money tied up in it. It really is. It can take a hit when when this uncertainty in the bans. And right now, I think a lot of the world, there's a lot of money and income and revenue tied up with TikTok right now. And so I think, a lot of people are really, of course, pushing for the sale and for trying to keep TikTok, but are not ready to fully give up on it or transition. So we're not seeing like a mass exodus or transition on TikTok. But But as of now, yeah, we've got at least another 75 days to go, and
Yep.
we will see how that goes. But yeah, I think that kind of recaps our TikTok conversation. We both have a couple fun, ramblings about social media. But if you have any questions at all about any of that we talked about, or about TikTok advertising, the platform itself, feel free to put that in the chat or reach out in the future. But yeah, so I will just share, while we've got a couple more minutes, a very interesting thing that I'm looking into right now, or that I learned about, is that Reddit recently announced that it is getting 10% of its revenue from licensing with Google AI and OpenAI. And that means that Google AI and OpenAI are using Reddit to inform and do like model learning for their AI, to get some user generated content. And that kind of opens the door to consider whether Reddit is a place that we want to start doing ads. Do you want to start doing posts? We haven't fully looked into that, but with, now knowing that is where a lot of that AI information is coming from, we're kind of looking into what does that mean for advertisers and SEO writers and things like that.
Yeah. I get to share mine now.
Yeah.
So I was looking into some potential stuff that's moving with Google. And so something kind of cool that's coming up is Google starting to have immersive ads, is what they're calling it. So these are ads within the video game Roblox. So Roblox, I don't know the numbers. I think last I checked, like something like 1 billion something people use it. It is a huge popular app. It's available on mobile, consoles, computer, you name it, it's on there. So Google's starting to roll out some ads, immersive ads in there. And so basically how it works is similar to like how when you're driving, you see a billboard. It'd be similar, but in a virtual space. So let's say you're playing like a car game within it. You could drive around and see a billboard for whatever you're advertising. So it's kind of a cool little space that is starting to kind of mesh that real world with a little bit of the virtual world. It's still kind of in development. I haven't seen too much about it. I just read about it not too long ago. So I'm going to keep an eye out on that. I think it's already something within Google placements. I'm assuming it's using their Google display ads. So it could be something kind of cool to look in the future. And depending on the client, it might work really well.
Yeah, I think that's so interesting. When you told me that, I realized that I play a silly little phone game that I get actual billboard ads in. It's like a little city with a billboard. And to me, it advertises TikTok. So, let that be, let's say about me what it will. But I think that's so interesting to not only are you advertising in a platform, but it looks like print media.
Yeah, no, it's great. And like if it's integrated well enough, you don't even know it's an ad. There's been a bunch of games before that, I don't know. I'm assuming it was really expensive deals, but there has been video games where they did feature ads in it. I remember one game was from like 2012 or something like that. It was like a spy game. And I remember being little and looking and seeing a billboard for Hot Pockets. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I made my parents go buy me Hot Pockets. Like it works. I just think it's kind of interesting if it works and if it's integrated well enough. You don't even think it's an advertisement. It actually can help with like the experience in the game itself, where it's like, oh, hey, this makes it feel more grounded. This makes it feel more real. That it's like an actual company I recognize. Depends on the person, but I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch how that sort of plays out into the future of advertising.
Yeah.
And I think just to recap, again, feel free to reach out with any questions, thoughts, more news, whatever we missed. We love to chat about all things social media. But just a reminder in all of this kind of up and down, that you do not have to be on every single social media platform. You do not have to have, you don't have to know the most or be posting the most on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, all of these things. Just really remember where your target audience is, what your key messaging is, and make sure that you really hone in on what platform is right for you. That can really kind of help feel a little bit more grounded in this constant changing landscape.
Yep.
But thank you all so much for joining us, and we will see you on whatever else is going on with TikTok in the future.
Yep, we'll see.
All right.